Indeed in the Commonwealth Games 2022 in Birmingham. It has been a golden, silver, and a bronze day as well. And as we near the end of the day, there is even more good news. The India women's hockey team, led by Savita Punia, has managed to beat Wales 3-1 in a very attritional encounter. This is India's second consecutive win after having thrashed Ghana 5-0 in their opening game. Breaking news, folks, for all those who have joined right now. India have beaten Wales 3-1. Vandana Kataria's superb brace combined with Gurjeet Kaur's goal. Zena Thompson's one goal pulled it back for Wales. But India held the upper hand and it was a great battle for possession, midfield battle. Penalty corners were missed, but yet again the superiority of India, in particular Vandana Kataria's excellence, ensured that India now have won 2 out of their 2 games in the Commonwealth Games in 2022. Vandana Kataria, in a way, summed up India's brilliance because it was her attacking instinct. Remember, the first quarter was goalless. Both sides, Wales and India, tried to get possession. They tried to create the attack, but it did not work. So the first quarter went goalless. The second quarter, Vandana Kataria opened it up and Gurjeet Kaur ensured that the lead was doubled. Wales got 1 goal back towards the dying end of the third quarter, but in the fourth quarter, it was Vandana Kataria and her brilliance in the penalty that ensured that India won the contest 3-1. It was a very tough start for the Indian hockey team. You have to understand that because before the start, there were reports that the coronavirus had spread in the Indian camp, and that is why Navjot Kaur was in isolation. She's back in India. So that is why even before the game, there was pressure, and we were also wondering what is going to be the status because were other members of the side positive. So luckily, only Navjot Kaur was tested positive for the coronavirus, although she displayed no symptoms. And that is why before the game, there was pressure. But Vandana Kataria and Gurjeet Kaur in particular has shown why she is one of the best in the business when it comes to India women's hockey. Now, after wins over Ghana and Wales, the real test for the India women's hockey team begins now. Their next games are against England and Canada. England has had the knack of always knocking India out and hurting them on the bigger stage. It happened in Tokyo, it also happened in the World Cup. This time in the Commonwealth Games, India will be hoping that it does not happen to them. Canada will represent a pretty tricky encounter for them because if you remember the last encounter between India and Canada in the FIH Women's World Cup, it was 1-1 and it needed a penalty shootout in which India won 3-2. It was hair-raising stuff. That match showed that Canada were no pushovers. So India's contests in the coming games, in the Commonwealth Games, will not be easy because now look, they are played back to back. They played Ghana the previous day, they have now played Wales. So after a gap, they will now take on England and Canada. After the women's team has started off well, the men's team will begin their campaign tomorrow against Ghana. Remember, they're all playing in the same group essentially. England, Ghana, Wales. So essentially the India men's team also have a chance to create history, both men and women. On the other hand, the men are wanting to end Australia's dominance in the Commonwealth Games in hockey. So that is the reason why this match, this start is very important. So the India women's team, after thrashing Ghana 5-0, they have beaten Wales 3-1. Remember, Wales also did not come into this match high on confidence. They had lost their previous game to Canada 0-4. So in this way, India will have given out the right statements. They now will be really hoping that they can convert this good start. Anish is saying, what do you think? India will win gold? Honest opinion. Anish, look, it is very difficult. Let me tell you that. Because Australia have won the Commonwealth Games gold a lot of times. Australia stand in the way for the men. For the women, it is also England. It can also be New Zealand and Australia. These 3 teams stand in the way for the women's team. When the men's team is concerned, it is probably Australia because New Zealand don't have a strong team in the Commonwealth, neither does England, neither does South Africa. And India have held the edge over both England, New Zealand and South Africa in the last couple of editions when it comes to major tournaments. There is a slight chance for India this time around. Why is that? Because Australia did not participate in the FIH Pro League because of the coronavirus situation. Because they did not participate, they come into this tournament slightly rusty. So I will say India have a great chance. But on the other hand, Australia, they raise their game in the big events, and that's why they are champions of the Commonwealth for a reason. They're also champions in many disciplines for a reason. Big game pressure, and that is why they bring their A game to the fore. So, Anish, honest opinion, India are having a good chance of gold, but it will be very difficult because Australia stand in their way. In the women, it's England, New Zealand, and Australia. In the men, it is only Australia. So that is about it, folks, for us. Tomorrow, it's another action packed day. Weightlifting, we may get another medal with Jeremy Lalringsua from Mizoram aiming for that gold. And on the other hand, we have India versus Pakistan, the women's T20 match at Edgbaston. Remember, India have to bounce back. Saikot Chatterjee, cricket goal loading, well, long way to go for that Saikot because look, Barbados beating Pakistan has meant that if India beat Pakistan tomorrow, Pakistan are out, then the game between Barbados and India determines who goes through to the semi-finals. So, Hrishikesh Damodar, what are India men's hockey team chances of winning the medal? The men's team are pretty high. Look, they will win a medal. That is for sure, Hrishikesh. They will win the medal because, look, England, South Africa, and New Zealand don't have that strong a team in the men's when it comes to the Commonwealth. Only Australia stand in their way. India, whether they win silver, bronze, or gold, it depends. But Australia stand in their way for gold. So that is why it is going to be a very, very interesting situation now. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live. Once again, breaking, India have won the game against Wales. And so they will now have a day's break before they go on to the next league games against Canada and England. So thank you so much, folks. I'll be back in a couple of minutes for the roundup of what has been a very, very historic Commonwealth Games Day 2. Thank you. Bye-bye.